Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Hello viewers and welcome. This is Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Hawa Sani Garba. Corruption is a crime that slows economic growth, undermines development, and causes inequality in society. It is the reason our roads are not motorable. Millions of children are out of school, and why the government is unable to provide its citizens with adequate health care. It is the cause of rising frustration and hardship among Nigerians. In today's edition, we are focusing our searchlight on the opportunity cost of corruption. In the meantime, Ruth Awodi is here with anti-corruption stories.
Welcome to this segment. I am Ruth Awodi with Anti-Corruption Stories. ICPC and the Department of State Services, DSS, have arrested 48 individuals for their alleged illegalities in the conduct of the Joint Universities Preliminary Examinations Board, JUPEB. The joint operation, tagged Operation Combo, conducted in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, led to the arrests of lecturers, security officers, workers, and students from some of the participating universities in the exam. Operation Combo was simultaneously carried out by the operatives of ICPC and DSS in 7 states after extensive monitoring of tutorial schools allegedly known for notoriously compromising JUPEB examinations. This has led to the arrest of the president of the Association of Tutorial School Owners. Also arrested were lecturers and others involved in examination malpractices and other illegalities in the participating institutions. The suspects were arrested from Wellspring University, Benin, Edo State, Christopher University, Mowe, Ogun State, and Crown Hill University, Ilorin, Kwara State. Again, the raid of tutorial centers by operatives of Macpherson and Precious Cornerstone Universities in Ibadan and Ilara Ekpe in Oyo State, respectively, led to more arrests of suspects. 3 current vice-chancellors have been invited by ICPC for their roles in the unchecked and massive malpractices reported. It was revealed that syndicated social media platforms were created by the facilitators for leaking questions and circulating answers to students for a fee during examinations. Investigation also revealed that candidates, who are mostly minors, allegedly paid between 350,000 naira to 500,000 naira each to the suspects in the various tutorial schools to engage in the illegalities. Some of the suspects arrested have been granted administrative bail while investigation is still ongoing. JUPEB is an advanced level educational examination that qualifies its candidates for admission into 200 level in any Nigerian and foreign universities through direct entry. It is coordinated by the University of Lagos and has up to 10 accredited universities. In another development, the chairman of ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasonye, SAN, has revealed that a major part of the $80 billion lost annually from Africa to illicit financial flows, IFFs, was from Nigeria. He made the revelation recently at the National Annual Public Lecture Series of the Intergovernment Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIABA, which held at Nile University, Abuja.
They reduce the physical security, well-being, and productive opportunities of West African citizens. Criminal economies are often underpinned and sustained by violence, exacerbating insecurity for ordinary citizens, particularly women and youth. Profits from illicit trade can further enrich groups involved in ongoing conflict, including terrorism, and act as a potent driver of conflict, thereby undermining the potential for development. This environment simultaneously constrains legitimate economic growth, which acts as a disincentive for both domestic and foreign actors to invest.
Earlier in his remarks, the Director General of GIABA, Justice Kimela Balu Abba, maintained that money laundering and terrorist financing constitute major obstacles to human development and present significant obstacles to equal economic and social opportunities, especially for honest and hardworking people. Justice Abba, who was represented by the head of Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, Mr. Modibo Haman Tukur, who also doubles as GIABA National Correspondent, stated that IFFs and money laundering crimes have adversely impacted national security and development in Nigeria and many other countries.
The predicate crimes' cumulative effects that lead to money laundering are the pauperization of the poor and the enrichment of the crooks, systemic corruption, erosion of the rule of law and the integrity of the financial system, and the political silencing of those who demand what is right in society.
The Vice Chancellor of Nile University of Nigeria, Professor Usman Nuri Aras, in his welcome address disclosed that money laundering and terrorism financing cripples the economy and undermines democracy.
Criminals come to know a country, create networks, and eventually also locate their criminal activities there. Money laundering facilitates crimes such as corruption, drug trafficking, illicit arms trade, armed conflicts, and terrorism. Proceeds of crime attract crime. On the other hand, terrorism financing facilitates the act of terrorism.
He noted that the crime of money laundering and terrorism financing had weakened and failed many financial institutions due to non-compliance with money laundering and financial laws, while calling on stakeholders to join hands in combating the menace. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Hawa.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, welcome you to the 3rd National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector. Theme: Corruption and Cost of Governance, New Imperatives for Fiscal Transparency. Date: 30th November 2021. Time: 10 a.m. prompt. Venue: State House Conference Center. President Muhammadu Buhari will declare the summit open. Highlights of the event include the presidential launch of the policy brief on corruption and cost of governance and recognition of winners of the 2021 Public Service Integrity Awards. Physical attendance is strictly by invitation, please. The general public is hereby invited to join on Cisco WebEx or Facebook live streaming on ICPC Nigeria. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
It is no longer news that corruption constitutes a bane to development in many societies. In Nigeria, the cost of corruption is spectacularly high. There is no quantifiable compensation for the damage it has done to Nigeria's socio-economic and infrastructural development. How about the lives lost due to accidents on bad roads, poor education, environmental degradation, and poor health delivery system, just to mention a few. In this segment, we will be looking at the opportunity cost of corruption of the sum of 5.2 billion naira and 2.5 billion naira allegedly mismanaged by two Nigerians respectively. According to a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, developing economies bear a larger burden of the cost of corruption. The report says that over $1 trillion are lost annually to fraud, corruption, and shady business transactions. Two influential Nigerians, the former JAMB registrar, Dibu Ojerinde, and the former Surveyor General of the Federation, Awudu Ebisinte, were recently arraigned by ICPC for various corrupt practices. Let's hear what Mr. Tunde Bamigboye, a legal practitioner and rights activist, has to say on the matter.
We look at it, what is the cost? And maybe in economic terms, you say the opportunity cost of corruption. And to a layman, to break it down, opportunity cost is just what you deprive yourself of in order to have something. What you deprive yourself of to have corruption, because there is corruption. We deprive ourselves of peace. Currently, the statistics are out there. Nigeria ranks very low. Some say, this, according to some reports, about 146 out of 163, and 8th least, peaceful in the world. Something that is perhaps more disturbing is the life expectancy. We deprive ourselves of life. Because the average life expectancy in Nigeria, as of today, is less than 60, and more precisely about 55. So majority of us die because of corruption at a very tender age. When people are living up to 80 in other countries, we are here, majority are living just about 55. Those who are lucky live up to 60 and above. So that is what corruption does, because if money is appropriated, for instance, to health, and it ends up somewhere, or money that ought to be appropriated for health ends up on some other frivolous things, then we deprive ourselves. That is the cost of corruption. Then unemployment. Perhaps about 23 million, according to reports, National Bureau of Statistics. That is, people who don't have jobs. What do you expect? Crime rates. It goes down to why we are less peaceful. And so also you have out-of-school children. That's about 13 million. Recent report as well. Now, if you could just project another 10 years, what will 10 million out-of-school children become in another 10 years? You don't need a prophet. You don't need a crystal ball. You don't even need to go to any mosque or any church to know what it will be. If we fail to account for all our children, train them, bring them on a path of maybe vocational education, after maybe some level of universal basic education, make sure they graduate to something that is productive.
For every naira or dollar that a corrupt official or business person puts in his or her pocket, a pregnant woman is deprived of the equivalent worth of health care or clean water, roads, and schools needed by a community. Every naira is important if Nigeria as a nation is to meet her Sustainable Development Goals projection to end poverty by 2030. A quantity surveyor gives us a breakdown of what the monies allegedly misappropriated by the two erstwhile public officials could do to improve Nigeria's economy, health, education, and transport sectors.
If you look at I will go back to the health sector. In the health sector, we have, when we talk about 5.2 billion, Yeah, the money may be, the billion may be huge in pronunciation and all that, but when it comes to its execution in constructions or in procurement, it's not that other what we really think. But in health sectors, if I want to look at it, maybe in the scope of Nigeria, maybe because there is no jurisdictions in this area or in that area, we look at the health section that in primary health care, we can say, okay, it can set up like about 2, 4, 5 primary health care, and including the facilities in all the rural villages that we are looking at. And we can as well do that if you don't want to set up primary health care. We can as well support the secondary health care, which by making a donations or rehabilitation of maybe one of those hospitals, one of the departments and all that, or 2 or 3 departments, and like the way I'm talking about malarias and all that, we can come in by supporting some drugs, by buying some drugs and give to those health sectors and all that. In the area of health and the area of transportations, we have, you know, it depends. Transportation is what government himself really comes in and involved. It just really sometimes we have support from we support the government. How do I mean? If I have challenge of transportation, we can do some maybe in hospitals, we can do some maybe road tracking, we can do some road tracking, marking of road and all that. And I believe that alone too can go a long way. Not only that, we can do a specific haulage system in transportation in some of those rural villages. Specific haulage system that too can, such money can be diverted in such areas. And when we are talking about haulage system, we are talking about in unit form. In unit form, I have a transport, I have a road from this village to the city, from this village to the city. It could be in unit form, and such money can be allocated in such another. Not only that, we can have in support of mass transportation, in collaborate with government, in collaborating with government, mass transportation, which such amount of money can go for such procurement of those machines. We're not talking about housing. Housing, we have low housing. We have low housing, we have secondary schools, we have building of primary schools in those rural villages and all that. And with such amount of money, you can build nothing less than about in 5 villages of good best primary schools. Good best primary schools. Because we want to do like 6 block of primary school. Let's talk about 150 million. And you can have that across the whole about 6, 7 villages and all that. And even in our urban area here, we can have them in some of these urban, some of these satellite towns and all that to support the government. And as well, you can build some maybe medium cost low housing for the people. That too, that money can go a long way, give us what we want. And when we talk of medium low cost housing, we can have about 1,000 units. 1,000 units from that 5.2 billion. 1,000 units, we could have such amount of unit of house from such amount of money. And when we want to talk about water and water department, well, we look at the need of the people. We prioritize the needs of the people. When we prioritize the need of people and you go to some place and look at it, you can sink boreholes. Just like you said, you can sink borehole. And at least we can have like more than 10 functionable boreholes in all villages and all that. And we can, part of it can be a dam, just mini dam and all that, which about 3.something billion can give us a mini dam, which we can use the rest balance for maybe for sucking of boreholes and all that, which the whole people can benefit other people around us.
You are still watching Corruption Must Go. Nigerians should be alive to their responsibilities by reporting suspected cases of corruption to ICPC, especially in the implementation of resources allotted for specific projects. We were on the streets to sample a few opinions on the cost of corruption. Take a listen at what we came back with.
Corruption is a major problem, it's a major challenge in Nigeria. The challenge of growth and development, underdevelopment and growth in Nigeria can be linked to corruption. Monies meant for infrastructural development have been looted by many persons who have been entrusted with the task of building a strong and vibrant nation. It is for this reason that we have a growing army of young Nigerians unemployed, because monies that should have been channeled into productive ventures that will have provided them with gainful employment has not only been looted, but spirited out of Nigeria. On paper, it will seem as if we are making progress. Corruption does not show on the GDP, because such monies will be seen to have been spent. But in terms of impact, positive impact on the people, it is not seen because the monies have been stolen and taken out of the country. So that's why we have bad roads. Farmers are not able to access the markets with their produce because the roads are very bad. Students are not able to go to school because their parents cannot afford their school fees. And even when their parents are able to send them to schools, you find most of the schools in very poor shape, because monies for the building of classrooms, monies for the building of laboratories has been stolen. In some cases, some work is done, but it's not done well. In other cases, nothing is done at all. But on paper, it will seem or it will show that work has been done. So this is the challenge we have. And you cannot have a strong and vibrant nation without an educated workforce.
Corruption has cost us our integrity in the nation. Let me quickly tell you a quick story about a lady at the Federal Secretariat, Abuja. A lady came to fight for her father's pension, looking for the father's file, trying to get the father's file to fight for her father's pension. And the clerk sitting that is supposed to bring the file, the Oga asked the lady to bring the file, and he told the man that, Oga, I never chopped today. Then the boss now said, why not find her little thing for her to give you the file, not knowing that the file is right in front of her. So corruption has cost us so much, our integrity in the nation. So let's come together as one Nigeria to fight corruption, to keep corruption out of the country.
There are so many instances where pregnant women will go to the hospitals, and the cost of healthcare services has been, it's on the increase. When payments are being made, they are not made formally. They have to make some payments informally, and most of these payments are not even remitted. The issue of bribery is there. Then the issue of absenteeism on the part of healthcare workers. When this happens, it results in poor healthcare outcomes for the patients.
When corrupt individuals are allowed to get away with the proceeds of corruption without being punished, other Nigerians are deprived from enjoying the dividends of government. Note that the Commission's social media platforms are ways by which you can report corruption to ICPC. We encourage you to use these platforms to make suggestions, comments, and ask questions. Thank you for watching, and see you again next week at 3:30 p.m. same station. Bye for now.